And the things that vibrate on the same level in that field of information attracts each other. So what are you attracting in your life? How happy are you? How depressed are you? How sad are you? Hello and welcome everyone to my very first live event. I'm having my live event here for how to create the life that you deserve. And I want to thank everyone for coming out, and for everyone that will watch the video of this. This is something I've been planning for a long time. I'm so glad to be here at the WAUWATOSA Public Library with you all. And we're going to be talking a little bit about my book Transcend, as well as my book Align with Your Purpose. I know that throughout our day-to-day lives, we go through many different struggles. We go through many different challenges, and how to overcome them and how to actually live the life that we want is something that seems so insurmountable at times. And there's a few reasons for that, and I want to dig into some of these things. The first thing I really want to talk about is your thoughts. You have about 70,000 thoughts in a day. Did you realize that? You've got over 60 to 70,000 thoughts that you have each and every day. And most of those thoughts are thoughts that you've already had. There's thoughts that you've already been experiencing and thinking about, and it's on autopilot. It's the same thoughts from yesterday. It's the same thoughts from last week. It's the same thoughts from last year. And these things are driving the subconscious nature of who it is that you are. Literally by the time we're 35 years old, how many are over 35? I have to raise my hand, right? So by the time you're 35 years old, you have pretty much programmed your mind in the way that it is that you're going to think about life in general. And it influences every decision. A lot of times I talk about this and use an explanation of things like money. You know, say you want to make more money or you want to manifest more money in your life. Well, if you have subconscious thoughts, which all of us do, and these thoughts run back through, our early childhood years, from 5 to 8, 8 to 12, so on and so forth. And if you've developed a mindset about money that maybe you think that people that have money got it dishonestly, people that have a lot of money are, and are wealthy, are not very good people. That's just an example. And so if those things are running in your subconscious, this means that everything that you think about money and what it is that you're going to actually be able to do as far as manifesting money is going to be a challenge. Because that's the subconscious nature of your programming. It's what you literally believe about what it is, about who it is that you are and what it is that you're doing. I think I want to move this camera a bit. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. That's a little bit better light in the camera anyway. So if you have these programs running in your mind on a very subconscious level, then every decision that you make, whether it's about money, whether it's about relationships, whether it's about your boss or your wife or whatever, there's some subconscious programming that's going on. And most people are just very unaware of that. But it is the thing that is the determining factor in what it is that you're going to be successful with and what you're not going to be successful with. How many people have things that they actually want to change in their life? What are the things that you're looking to actually change about your life? Job, relationship, okay, certain things like that. Okay, all of that makes sense. So how do we begin to change those things? Well, let's talk about a little bit how the mind works. Most people don't appreciate the moment that they're living in. They don't appreciate the moment, like this moment right now. And how long does a moment last? Anyone know? Because I don't. But this moment. Okay, now we're in this moment. You have moment to moment opportunities to create whatever it is that you want to create, especially when we're talking about the power of your mind and what it is that you're going to do to try and influence change in your life. Because this moment is the only moment you have. This moment. The moment before has passed already, so it's gone. You can't do anything about that. But this moment right here, you can decide consciously, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be excited, I'm going to be thrilled, I'm going to be exuberant, or you can decide to be something else that maybe is on a negative connotation or a negative side, right? So here's the problem with how it is that we think as human beings. Most people live in the past, and what I mean by that, I'm talking about previous moments. I'm talking about previous minutes. I'm talking about previous days, previous weeks, previous years, previous decades. They're thinking about all those things that have gone on before. That's one thing. And then there's a whole other thing. We think about and we contemplate the future. What is the future going to bring? What am I going to be able to do? How am I going to be able to do it? That right there is what I deem as hallucination, because that moment has not happened yet. That moment has not occurred. So how is it that we either live in the past or the future, but we never manage to really look at this moment that we're living in right now? Because this moment is the only moment you have. The next moment is not promised, but this moment is inevitable. It is inevitable that this moment happens. The next moment, there is no inevitability because the next moment is not promised. Moment by moment. But let me tell you something about living in the moment. Living in the moment is living in eternity. It is living outside of time. It is living in the moment where you have direct connection to the Creator. You have direct connection in this moment. The previous moment is gone. The next moment is not promised. But in this moment, you can literally control what is going to happen, and that is going to be controlled by your thoughts. Now, science has proven that a human being is made up of trillions of cells. Agree? Okay. So we know that trillions of cells we're created of these trillions of cells. In those cells, the molecules, we've got the atoms, and then we also have the subatomic material. We have the quantum material. We have the protons, the neutrons, the electrons, the quarks, things of that nature. Well, when you look at this from a scientific perspective, it shows us that those things that I'm talking about, the atom, the electrons, the neutrons, and all that kind of stuff, it's only 99.999%. Or I should say, it is 99.9999% energy. It is only 0.0001% physical matter. That's all. So if you extrapolate that up, that means that you and I are more nothing than we are something. We are more energy because of what we're made up of than we are physical manifested material. But here's the kicker. Most people only pay attention to that 0.00001%. What about that 99.999% of you that is more than anything else that you can think of? That is where people don't focus enough. But when you look at that energy realm, the spiritual realm, the quantum realm, the endless possibility realm, that is where things are created. That is how the universe was created. We are all made up of the same stuff that everything else is made of. It's just manifesting in different ways, but we're all made of the same things. So when you look at this fact that you're more nothing than you are something, why do we focus so much on the material in the manifested world? Because most of us have not learned that we can engineer or change or design or reprogram who it is that we are. Most of us don't look at that way. But when you start looking in that realm, just think about the things that are materialized. You have your cell phones, your smartphones, your Androids, your iPhones. You have your computers, your laptops, your desktops, this microphone, the camera. Everything has been created. All of this technology that we have at our fingertips that makes our lives so much easier and so much better. But how much engineering have we done with this ourselves? Now think about this for a minute. All those pieces of technology that I just finished talking about, every last piece of technology was created by this piece of technology. But we rely so much on what has already been manifested that we don't pay enough attention to this. We look at things and how they affect us on the outside. When I say outside, I mean exterior to you. But think about this. When you think about all those things that are on the outside and we think that person's the problem, or this situation's the problem, or that made me angry, or this made me angry. Think about this for a moment. Where are you seeing me right now? Where am I? Just point. Where am I? I knew it. Everybody would just point right here, right? Okay, so think about this. That's actually not true. Where you are experiencing me is here. The light is reflecting off of me. It's bouncing off of me. It's hitting your corneas and all that other kind of stuff. It's going through and your brain is interpreting all of this. But you're experiencing this in here. This is where you experience everything. There is nothing that you experience that is outside of yourself. Nothing. Whether you're touching something, you're not even touching. Like I'm sitting here touching this podium. I'm actually not even touching it. There's sensations that are running through my finger up to my brain and interpreting that. But literally, cells cannot touch each other. There's a barrier. There's always a barrier. So everything that we experience, and I'm going to get to the emotional part here in just a moment, but everything that we experience is in here. It's not caused by out there, because in here, you decide. You decide what you're going to feel, you decide what you're going to experience, and you decide how you're going to interpret those signals. So if someone cuts you off in traffic, did that person make you angry, or did you choose to get angry? Think about it. Did that person make you angry? Well, you'll say, yeah, they made me angry because they cut me off. It was your decision to be angry. When our kids or children do something wrong or we don't like, how we respond is completely within our control. But there's certain things about our programming that make us believe or to think that we're justified in every response, every action that we take against someone else that is doing something to us. Right? But how much control is that? How much control have you given up? How much control have you just allowed to go by? Paid no attention to it. You're just a responder. You're just a responder. You're not someone that is actually in control. So if you're not in control of your thoughts, your feelings, and emotions, how is it that you can control and create the life that you want? Especially when you know that in this moment, you can feel any way you want. Let's talk about here, when you look at actually manifesting something it is that you want. When I talked about that we're created of 99.9999% energy, that's a wave. Everything has a vibration. Everything in creation vibrates at some level. And the things that vibrate on the same level in that field of information attracts each other. So what are you attracting in your life? How happy are you? How depressed are you? How sad are you? These are the things that you have to contemplate and understand and start seeing. How much are you in control of? When you start thinking about the vibrations that you're putting out through your thoughts and especially through your feelings, thoughts are like an antenna that come out. And the emotion behind that thought is like the magnet that draws it in. Every memory that you have has an emotional attachment to it. I tell people sometime when they have an issue or a problem and they say, no, I'm over it. I've been over that for years. But here's a test. If you think about a situation that hurt you years ago, no matter how long ago it was, but there's still that emotional content that comes up and you feel the same things, the same anger, the same fear or whatever, you're not over it. You haven't reprogrammed or rewired those synapses in your brain. This is what's so vitally important. When you want to start getting control over your life and manifesting the things that you actually want to manifest in your life, this is all about controlling the thoughts and the feelings that you have. The one thing that I've become very aware of over the time that I've been really contemplating all of this for the past couple of years, I don't let a thought go by my awareness without me noticing it. No thought. Because I want to manage my thought. If a thought comes into my awareness that I just don't want to have, I say, stop, and I move on to something else because I don't want that to become an emotional thing for me as well, because that emotion is going to change my vibration and start drawing more things in like that. Have you ever woken up in the morning, bad mood already, right? So you're in a bad mood already. Then you get out of bed, you stub your toe. Oh, that just made it really interesting morning, right? Then you go, you pour your cup of coffee in your favorite mug, and you spill it. Then you get on the road and people start cutting you off. These are the vibrations that you began your day with. These are the vibrational signals that you're putting out and telling to the universe or the creator, I just want more of this. And the universe is fair. It gives you not what you want, but what you feel. So when it comes down to the power and the control that you have, this is all about what you are feeling, not about what you want. You don't get what you want. You get what you feel. I even had a conversation once when people were saying, trying to do positive affirmations and things. It's like, I want a new car. Well, if you say I want, that's what you're saying. You just want the feeling of want. No, instead, thank you for the new car. I'm so happy with this new car that I now have. It's a slight adjustment in the wording, but it's also a slight adjustment in your feeling. Now, here's the thing. If you really want to make some things manifest in your life, put an emotional content into the thought. This is not about positive thinking, because thinking is just an antenna, but the emotions, as I said before, is the magnet that draws it in. So if there's something that you want, you have to believe it's already yours. You have to have the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions that go along with what it's going to feel like because you already have it. Many people in the Christian tradition, they have this, the Bible talks about faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Well, if faith is the substance, it means it's material already. It's already. Ask and you shall receive. Well, why? I know. I see you. I know people have been asking, right? People, you're asking all the time. I want this. I want this. I want that. But you're not receiving. Faith the size of a mustard seed, the Bible says. Mustard seed is the smallest seed. It's just so small. It's tiny. So how much faith do you have? How much belief do you have? How much certainty do you have that you actually already have received that? Because if you can't know that you have it already, then it doesn't make any difference. There was an interesting story. Well, not a story, but this is something else again from the Bible. But I was talking to someone about this, and we were talking about the woman that got healed she had the issue of blood. And she said, all I need to do is touch the hem of his garment and I'll be made whole. And so we had a discussion because we were saying, and I said, Jesus didn't heal that woman. Jesus didn't heal that woman. I'm looking at your heads. Okay. Jesus didn't heal that woman. She healed herself. She had the faith and the belief that all she needed to do was touch his garment and she would be made whole. Jesus didn't even know she was there. As a matter of fact, it was illegal for her to be there because of the condition that she had. She was healed as soon as she did the action that she had the faith in doing, that it was already done. How much faith do you have? And what you ask for and what you believe will be done. Now think about this. There are, however you feel about the drug industry, right? But however you feel about the drug industry, they do these clinical trials. Say they come out with a new drug to cure cancer or whatever. And so they got to go through clinical trials because they have to be approved and all that. So what happens is they get a test group, let's say of 100 people. So 50 of them are going to get the drug, 50 of them are going to get the placebo. But do you know this? Say the drug is a miracle and it actually works, right? The same number of people, around the same number of people that get cured from the drug, get cured from the placebo or that simple sugar pill because of belief. That's it. So if the mind can make us well, and this is exactly what I'm talking about, because you also know that the mind can make you sick. If you worry too much, it's going to physically show up in your body. It's going to physically manifest in what it is that you're experiencing. So if the mind, and this came from Dr. Joe Dispenza actually, if the mind can make you sick, wouldn't it be feasible to think that the mind can make you well? Well, if people are getting cured off of placebos and not actual drugs, that means that there's something to this mind-body-spirit connection. There's something to that. But how is it that you're going to allow this to work in your life? Now, here's the thing. Many people have tried things like, law of attraction and, all that kind of stuff. And basically, it's a bunch of spraying and praying. It's a bunch of wishing and hoping and thinking, but there is no emotional content. There is no action in this moment to make sure that that is what is going to occur. Because in this moment, you can think about anything that you want. You can feel in this moment, right now, in this moment, however many moments there are, it's your choice to think about what you're going to think and feel. Wouldn't you want to have, and let's just say this, say you start, okay, Earl, I'm going to try some of this stuff. I'm listening to what it is that you're saying, and I'm going to try and go ahead and do this, right? So, okay. So, either it works or it doesn't. That's just the truth. But here's the thing. Let's say you started today to try and manifest the life that you actually deserve to have, the life that you want to have. And then tomorrow problems come up and da-da-da-da-da, and you just drop it all. This crap doesn't work. Well, of course it doesn't. You haven't learned anything yet. Because I can sit here and tell you things, and I have a habit of saying this a lot now. Words don't teach, only experience does. Words don't teach, only experience does. And so if you don't allow yourself to experience the changes that can occur, now are you going to stumble? Do I stumble and fall? Of course I do. Because there is no perfection, right? But if you give up, it will never work. So I have nothing here to sell you today. Well, actually, yeah, I'm doing my book signing, so if you want my books, you can get those. But here's the thing. I've given you this free information. I've given you this free talk. But now it is up to you to go out and execute on the things that you've heard. The things that you've heard me say. I've written about them, a lot of them, in both of my books, Align with Your Purpose, as well as my newest book called Transcend. Both of them are available on Amazon.com. And if you so choose to, I'll be doing a book signing right after this. And you can get 1 for 10, 2 for 15. How's that? So, any questions? Yeah. Okay, so what do you do when things happen that you have no control over? Well, that's just it. You have no control over things. The only thing you control is you. And therein is the problem as well, because people will say, well, I'm acting this way because they acted that way, or I did this because they did this to me. You have no control over what anyone else does. The only thing that you have control over is you. Isn't that fair? How fair would it be for us to be able to control someone else's life and destiny and path that they want to follow? We don't want anyone controlling ours. It is never about what the other person does. It is only about how you respond to it. And you can choose how you respond. Now, if you get in your pride and your all that other kind of stuff and you just want to show that you're the man or the woman, you're going to do that, right? But who is that helping? And even if someone does something to you, and I had a conversation the other day, I was being interviewed by Cyrus Webb on his radio show, Conversations Live. And we were talking about forgiveness. And what I said was about the reason forgiveness is so important, it has nothing to do with that other person. How long are you going to hold a grudge? And what is that grudge doing? It's almost like you're going to hold a grudge against someone else for something they did years ago. They've forgotten. They don't even know. You're the only one carrying this weight. And here's the other thing. Let's talk about chemicals for a minute. This body is a chemical factory. You can go to the doctor. They can take your blood pressure when you're angry and it goes up. They can take your blood work when it's angry and it shows up in your blood work. And you know what it shows up in your blood work as? Do you know what anger shows up as? Negative emotion shows up as poison in your blood. So when you're holding anger and things of that nature against others, you're poisoning yourself, not them. Not them. The emotions that we have carry, and here's the thing, and here's the other thing about anger and this chemical factory that we live in. Emotions carry a chemical signature in your body. and your body releases chemicals to support the emotion that you're having. So guess what? When you're angry, it's pumping you full of drugs that are going to support that anger emotion. Your body just makes it to help support what you say you want. Same happens when you're happy. Your body pumps you full of the chemical that supports that emotion. Dopamine, right? Your body, it's like we're dope fiends. It's like you get angry, so your body pumps you full of chemicals to support that emotion. Now you're even more angry because your body pumped you full of chemicals. Now you're more angry, and it's a vicious cycle. We can see in our own lives the times that we've spent angry for days, for weeks. Any married people in here know what I'm talking about? Who is that helping? You want to win every fight? Stop fighting. Because what anyone else does has no bearing on who it is that you are or what it is that you believe. I want to thank you guys so much for coming out to see me. Here at the WAUWATOSA Public Library. This is my first speaking event. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. So we're going to do a book signing now. I can meet everyone in the back. You can actually head there now. There's a sign-in sheet. Make sure if you didn't sign in, you sign in with your name and email address. And we can talk more at the back table. Thank you once again.
Inside.